Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we had a really interesting mission.
Mm-hmm.
We were trying to find, well, the ultimate shortcut to understanding world-class achievement.
Right, the how-to guide.
Exactly. You provided us with some sources that promised to unlock the secrets behind, one of the most successful sports figures on the planet, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
The source material was titled, let me get this right, Jiu Ojon. It's a, shoe opship.
Which translates to something pretty direct.
It does. It translates to Ronaldo and his family's success formula.
And just hearing that title, you immediately know what the appeal is.
Oh, absolutely. It sets up massive expectations. It implies a detailed blueprint, not just some casual biography.
And that's what's so appealing to you, the learner. You don't want the fluff. You want condensed, actionable knowledge.
A secret sauce.
Exactly. A title like that makes you think you're about to get the non-negotiable routines, the psychological frameworks, maybe even the specific family structures that create that kind of sustained excellence.
And this is a huge but.
This is the critical point we have to make right at the top of this. Well, the document promised this incredibly detailed formula. The excerpts we were given to analyze, they contain none of it, none of the operational content.
So it's like we have the label for the secret sauce jar.
But the jar is completely empty.
Yes. Wow. Okay. So our mission has to pivot completely.
It has to.
This deep dive, then, is not about reading the formula.
No.
It's about analyzing the promise of the formula.
Yeah.
We have to extract every single nugget of knowledge we can from just the existence, the structure, and, well, the exact phrasing of that title.
That's all we have to work with.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Or what little there is to unpack. So our whole analysis has to focus on the two most powerful ideas in that title.
The word formula.
And the phrase and his family.
Right. So let's start with the hard facts, just to be clear. The complete, total, factual information we got from the source is just the title.
That's it.
Ronaldo and his family's success formula. Everything else we're about to talk about is an inference, an analysis based on the psychological and semantic weight of those specific words.
And that word formula is so powerful, isn't it?
It's huge.
It completely rejects the idea that success is just, some kind of mystical luck or unreplicable genius.
Right.
A formula is scientific by its very nature. It says if you do X, Y, and Z,
you get a predictable outcome.
Yep.
In this case, success. And what's fascinating here is how that single word transforms the whole thing. It takes the career of a world-famous athlete from being a story, a biography.
A journey.
It's a journey, exactly. And it turns it into an instructional manual, a process.
The psychological impact of seeing formula suggests that whoever wrote this believes Ronaldo's achievements aren't just from his, innate talent.
Right, not just something he was born with that you can't teach.
No, it's also the result of a definable, maybe even a transferable method.
It creates an expectation of universality, doesn't it?
Totally. If it's a formula, then we as the audience are immediately looking for the variables, the things that anyone could, in theory, plug into their own life.
You'd be looking for the dietary constants, the mental recovery schedules, the financial strategies.
The things that aren't unique to his DNA, but are unique to his discipline.
And that is a huge distinction in, modern achievement studies. We're moving away from just worshiping the genius and more toward dissecting the system.
I like that.
The promise of a formula suggests that talent is just the fuel, but the repeatable process, that's the engine.
And engines can be reverse engineered.
Yeah.
They can be rebuilt by other people.
Exactly.
So think about what that implies for you, the listener. If you believe there's a formula, it kind of means that even if you don't have Ronaldo's physical gifts, adopting the right mindset variables, the right training variables, could move you a lot closer to your own version of world-class success. It sort of democratizes the whole process.
It does. It suggests that consistency, resource allocation, sustained psychological resilience.
All the inputs.
Those are the real secrets. Not just the spectacular bicycle kicks, it shifts the focus from the highlight reel to the daily grind, but frames that grind as a systematic operation.
Which brings us to the second part, the other crucial component of this title.
And his family.
Yeah. The source doesn't frame success as this purely individual thing. It immediately brings in a collective, a systemic contribution.
And what's fascinating here is the implication that world-class individual talent needs an equally world-class support structure just to function.
To function consistently, yeah. Over decades.
So the source title is basically saying that the individual star is not a lone wolf. They're just the most visible part of a high-performance unit.
We always celebrate the singular effort, the hero.
Mm.
But this title forces us to ask, what role is the family actually playing?
It's not just emotional support, which of course is critical. It's likely operational, structural.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you can infer that the family unit acts as a kind of shield for the athlete.
A shield from what?
At that level of fame and wealth, constant distraction, financial complexity, emotional noise, all of it. If the family is part of this success formula, their role might just be to absorb all that external pressure.
So he doesn't have to.
So he only has to worry about one thing: playing football. They handle the logistics, the quality control of his inner circle, maybe even enforcing his own demanding standards.
That eliminates what they call choice fatigue, right?
Precisely, the elimination of friction. Just imagine the mental energy you'd save if you knew your finances, your media, your diet, even just running your home
Was all handled by a dedicated, trusted system.
your family. And that saved mental space, that translates directly into longevity on a field,
Yeah.
physically and psychologically.
So the title is basically saying, success isn't just Ronaldo's talent, it's the system the family built around that talent.
Yes. It elevates the family from just being passive supporters.
Being active, foundational co-contributors to the formula itself.
And if we connect this back to you, the listener, you can think about your own high-stakes projects. You might have the talent, but do you have a system? A family, a team, a set of rules?
Something that minimizes distraction and enforces consistency.
The title highlights that the non-talent inputs are just as necessary for the talented output.
This is a really deep analysis of the title's implications, but it brings us right back to our original problem.
The constraint.
The constraint. For all the value we can see in the words formula and family, we have to state it again. The sources gave us zero specific details.
No content on the actual family dynamics. We have no idea if they were managers or strict diet enforcers or just psychological anchors.
Not a single quote defining a rule they live by.
The information is simply not there.
So this whole thing becomes a study in absence.
Yes.
The promise was so potent that the lack of content creates a kind of vacuum, and it forces us into this meta-analysis.
Our deep dive is complete, not because we found the secrets, but because we exhausted the only available information.
Which was the title itself.
And this, I think, leads us to the most important insight from this whole exercise. We were given a title that represents the absolute height of aspirational knowledge.
The definitive why and how behind massive success.
It's perfect information marketing, really.
Yeah.
Custom-tailored for the person who wants the secret sauce, the shortcut, the blueprint.
But the reality is that gap. The gap between the promise and the delivery.
Right. And it forces us to step back and realize that in the information age, sometimes the most important analysis is revealing what's conspicuously absent, not what's there.
This connects right back to critical thinking, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We are constantly bombarded with compelling headlines and documents that promise the definitive answer, the missing link, the secret formula.
And in a case like this, the biggest insight is recognizing the power of the framing device itself. Yeah. Success formula is a container for information, but it's no guarantee that the container is actually full.
It forces us to ask, what's the motive behind labeling something a formula if the steps aren't there? Is it analysis or is it just amplification?
It demands skepticism toward the packaging.
Exactly. Just because a source is labeled the formula doesn't mean the principles inside are documented or even replicable. Our job is always to look past the headline and assess the substance.
Or the lack of substance.
Or the lack of it.
The meta takeaway today is really about recognizing the value we all place on systematic knowledge, but also seeing when that value is being used to sell an idea rather than explain a reality.
We found the peak of aspirational knowledge, but we couldn't climb inside.
So we have to thank you for sending this material, because that initial curiosity we all felt from such a promising title, Ronaldo and his family's success formula, it led us to a much deeper discussion about what success really requires. It's not just talent, it's a powerful friction-eliminating system.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought. Since this deep dive only gave us the title, we've analyzed the concepts of formula and family without seeing any of the ingredients.
Right.
So this raises a question for you to think about on your own. If you were writing the content for that source, if you had to distill Ronaldo's success into a family-supported formula, what two specific non-talent-related principles would you mandate? Beyond natural athletic gifts, What are the operational ingredients necessary for that kind of sustained world-class achievement that the family system would have to enforce day in and day out?
That's your next piece of analysis. Thank you for joining us for this very unique